Good evening, everybody. It's August 13th, 2021, and Bitcoin has decided to give us a little pump here. So this double top that I was looking at, even though it confirmed with a breakdown of the neckline and retested, which is the standard for double tops, confirming, it obviously blew that out of the water, and the Elliott Wave theory that I was looking at here that predicted coming down into this area here for a fourth wave before a fifth wave up seems to be the correct interpretation. So I did short Bitcoin in that region, and I stopped out above these highs, and that's completely fine with me. Like I said, that was a hedge. I'm still, I accumulated Bitcoin all the way down in the low 30s, so shorting up here as a hedge against this possible double top was the smart play for me, especially considering my other long positions as well. So yeah, not sad about that stopping out. That's completely fine. Technically, I'm up even more because my other longs are doing better. So is what it is. Moving on to what we should expect next. This 4, let's see here, where are we? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this 4 held pretty much where it should, and this 5 really should top out in this region here, this red box. But it may extend upwards a little bit more. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But in any case, I am still expecting a top relatively soon. If we're looking at this yellow count, we're certainly expecting a top in here. If it extends upwards a little bit, it matches up with this next blue fib as well. So right around 50K would not be a stupid place to expect a correction downwards from there, but really could come at any time. So again, I'm going to caution against going into any leverage positions, especially on the long side. Because we are, certainly getting near the point where we should have a retrace here. And if I delete this yellow real quick, just to make it a little bit more clear here, looking on this blue count, based on the action that we had here, like I said, this was kind of the ideal place for it to top, but it would not be a surprise for it to extend upwards there, and that then matches up our yellow and blue count if that red box extends upwards into that region instead, and it goes to the 2.236, really right there at about 50,000. So can it extend even further than that? Yeah, sure it can. It could keep extending up, even a couple more. We'll just have to wait and see where it does. But the point remains that it will at some point pull back again. I mean, it always does. It always pulls back. I mean, that's how markets work. They go up and they come back down. So where it actually tops out will give us another point of reference, basically, that we can use and try to figure out where the next move is going to go. So just out of curiosity, let me put back my yellow fib here, but let me pull up a new chart. This is 2 and this is 3. Of that I'm pretty sure. And I want to see where, using a slightly different method, that targets for 5, just out of curiosity. So let me pull up a new chart here. So instead of just relying on fib extensions, if you know where your 2 and your 3 are, this is our 2 and this is our 3, you can draw a fib retracement, and if you draw it backwards, it'll give you an extension upwards. Okay, so this would have predicted that, so there's 3, this would have predicted 4 would go into this area, which it did, and then 5 typically goes up to the 1382 to the 1236, and so we're right in that region there as well, using the slightly different method here too. So basically, it's all math, but the fib retracement can sometimes give you a different target than that fib extension. Oh, you know what? This is not on log. Hang on. Let's put that on log. That makes more sense. Okay, there we go. 618 to 786. There's our 4. That's nicer. And here's our 5. There we go. Okay, so anywhere in this region here is what this method gives the target as, between 46.5 and 49.2. So again, as we get nearer to that 50K region, it's not a silly thought to think that we're going to have a retracement from there. So let's just assume for now that we reach all the way to the top. Let's just call it 50K. So let me get a line here. So right about 50K. Let's assume that's where we're going to top out. Okay, here's where the move started on this spike down to 28.7. So once we have a top firmly in place, then we will draw a fib to wherever that top actually goes, and then we'll look for the pullback from there. A shallow pullback should give us the 236 at least, so this gives us 43.8. But ideally it would go down a little deeper to about the 382, even as far down as the 618 is what we'd be looking for. So basically looking at anywhere between 35 and 40K again as the potential for this pullback, and that'll change slightly as this top kind of moves. If it goes up a little further, that'll come up. If it goes down a little bit more and is already topped out, it goes down a little bit. But kind of be on the lookout for whenever this tops. I would be on the lookout for this 236 to bounce, but typically this wave 2 will come deeper, but we'll just have to see if it actually does. So I would be most comfortable in grabbing leverage longs in that area, in that box between 35 and 40. And then really, I mean, it's going to have to be a pretty wide stop. So these are going to be longer term. Even if we're using leverage, it's going to be low leverage and longer term, because our stop has to be below this low basically here. If it breaks down below 29K, then that's definitely no good, because wave 2s can really come deep, as we saw on this one. That one came super deep. So we're going to be real cautious in building those longs, and it's probably even smarter, honestly, to wait for this to top out. It comes down into this area, and then if we grab a couple longs in there, great. But ideally we would see a little micro 5 up, something like that, and then another little pullback before we go up, and that would be the place where we can even better grab some longs. And it may coincide with a breakout of some sort of downtrend like this. A lot of times that's what you see, kind of a downtrend forming, and then a breakout and a retest is your little micro 1 and 2. So that's what we'll keep our eyes on there. But nothing really has changed for me. Like I said, for the longer term plan, I'm still waiting on this pullback to reload. I've been distributing some of what I accumulated down here. I've been distributing it and selling some of it up here, not all of it, but some of it, and I'll reaccumulate then in that region on the pullback. And if we get that, then we're set up really, really strongly for the next move up. And then, just out of curiosity, let's see where that projects to. If this is our 1 up to 50 and 2 down to, who knows, maybe 38, something like that. Where does that project us to? That projects us up to about 100K. So, and that'll depend on, however far this goes. If this goes down to the lower region, it projects us to like 93 to 100. If it goes to the higher region, it projects us to a little bit higher, 100 to 120, something like that. So once we have that firmly in place, we can kind of use that to our advantage and try to determine where it's going. If it is going to go impulsively up, it could also make, obviously, an ending diagonal or some sort of annoying pattern upwards where it's a little choppier than that. But let's hope for the ideal situation on this one. All right, that's it for now. I'm going to shut up about that. Still expecting a pullback soon, and we'll look to buy back in then. All right, good night, everybody. Stay safe.